The season of scam has begun, and how? And the first to go viral, not just in India but globally, is JWT India's so-called proactive work for Ford Figo. But this time, the agency had to face serious repercussions and take hard calls. It couldn't just do away with sacking a few young guns within the agency. Bobby Pawar, after a 15-month stint as Chief Creative Officer of JWT, was fired, along with Vijay Simha Velanki, Creative Director at Blue Hive India, which is a dedicated global agency for Ford formed by WPP. Shocking as the news may be, the fact that Ford is JWT's largest client globally gives some perspective on why this decision. So, for an industry that is known for its immature and notorious behavior when it comes to winning awards, is this signal enough? We decided to speak to a host of leading Indian advertising minds to get their first reactions.
Caricatures of the former Italian Prime Minister with scantily clad women bound and gagged in his boot. Celebrity Paris Hilton with the Kardashians, Khloe, Kourtney and a bikini-clad Kim stuffed in the rear of a hatchback. And finally, race driver Michael Schumacher with a bunch of his competitors crammed into the storage area of a car. Four days later, Bobby Pawar, JWT India's Chief Creative Officer and Managing Partner, as well as Vijay Simha Velanki, Creative Director at Blue Hive, have lost their jobs. This is the first time ever that such high-profile employees have gotten the axe after the release of so-called scam ads like these. Drastic, harsh and unwarranted, you may say, but will this industry ever learn?
I don't think it is some sacrilegious bad thing when people create ads with the intent of displaying excellence, which will eventually also be rewarded with awards. Right? That process exists in any creative art.
There are two aspects to this. One is that, is it a good thing to create proactive work for your clients? I think there is nothing wrong with that. That just kind of stimulates the entire agency, stimulates the creative in that agency. So it's, to my mind, a very, very good thing. The other part of the question is, can this be done at any cost? And I'm saying no, it cannot be. Very clearly, client and brand interests have to come first.
I'm sure, Bobby has taken the responsibility, and it is always, it's a rude fact that at the end of the day, the creative head is penalized, not the business head. To me, permission, not permission, if it were to win accolades all over the world, everyone would have really forgotten about all that.
The industry really needs to do some soul searching over here. It sort of forces everyone across the board, it's not just about creative people or young or old or leaders, but across all disciplines and across the industry to really sort of think about what they're doing. It is a strong reaction, and therefore I think that strong reaction is going to send ripples across the industry, and everyone's going to think about it.
Bobby was not available for an on-camera interview, but he did speak to us over the phone.
Somebody big had to take the moral responsibility for this incident. What happened is unfortunate, but no matter what the circumstances, it did happen on my watch. However it ended, I am proud of my stint at JWT and the people I worked with. In just a year or so, we took pretty big strides in improving the work. I am thankful to the clients who imposed their trust in me and my teammates who embraced my relentless push for good solutions. I wish them all the best. To all of those who were hurt or offended by the ads, as the former CCO of JWT, please accept my sincere apologies. I should have done more to prevent it, and for that I am deeply sorry.
In the past, scam work like these ads by McCann for Haynes cost the agency the account, with Haynes shifting the entire business to Lowland Towers. And the risk of losing Ford as a client is one that JWT cannot afford. Ford is the agency's biggest account and contributes over £1.3 billion to WPP's coffers.
There's no other thing that would have prompted an agency to take such a massive step, apart from the fact that, you know, they were really protecting their interest as a, as a global multinational advertising agency, vis-a-vis their largest client. So I think it's very clear. I don't think there's any ambiguity about that at all.
Promptly after these ads wreaked havoc in the international community, JWT withdrew all of its Ford entries from the Abbeys.
The point is not whether Bobby had seen it or not seen it. I think the point is that the system of approval did fail.
While this is a lesson to be learnt by the fraternity at large, it still spells disaster for JWT, whose jinx with its top creative spot continues. A phenomenon that began in 2008 with Agnello Dias's exit as Chief Creative Officer from JWT India. In fact, Agnello was the third NCD to call it quits in the span of 18 months, the other two being Bruce Matchett and Josie Paul. This had a 360-degree impact, as following suit was the creative head of JWT Kolkata, Shamik Sengupta. As if that wasn't enough, the agency made yet another big mistake by bringing in expat creative director Adrian Miller on board as Chief Creative Officer of Delhi, which immediately led to two high-profile exits, that of Anuja Chauhan and Elvis Sequeira. And then, in 2011, Adrian Miller assured that history repeats itself and followed tradition by calling it quits. The latest to bite the dust is Bobby Pawar, 1 year and 3 months after he got the post.
I'd be really surprised if they managed to find any other creative person, because I don't think anyone in their right mind would join now.
People like me were in that position. I can understand it is going to be a bit difficult for JWT to find someone to lead the creative, because people are going to wonder if there's if the guy at the top is not protected, then why should they be there?
There is going to be lots of rethinking about brand JWT in India. First task for them would be to find leadership which understands and contribute to those brands, and then thereby having a contribution within the agency.
The mystery that remains is how can a piece of work so highly produced and that had been submitted for the Abbeys slip in unnoticed by the top management at both JWT and Ford.
Any piece of work that enters GoaFest has to have the client's approval. That's the normal process, and I'll be surprised if JWT flouted that.
I don't know how that work went out there without client approval. So global clients insist on seeing all the work, and there are stringent approval processes.
GoaFest insists, all award shows insist on a written letter from the client. So I think people are aware of that, and maybe not aware of the ramifications.
On November 23rd, 2011, when Bobby had been appointed as the CCO, brand equity Sonali Krishna caught up with Colvin Harris and Bobby Pawar to find out why this particular relationship would work given JWT's history with creative talent, and why Bobby was the right man for the job.
So some really big news coming our way with Bobby, you finally deciding to say goodbye to Mudra, your 4-year stint coming to an end and joining the big world of JWT. It's a brave decision.
It's an interesting decision. I don't know, brave, whatever, but I'm excited to, get on board and get on with it. But the challenge of, taking on this role of partnering Colvin might be intimidating, but it is also liberating, because you start so high, right? So if you fly, you'll only get higher, right? So that's the thing.
Colvin, coming to you. You've had your set of challenges retaining creative talent in JWT. I mean, there have been some of the best minds that have actually worked in this agency. But there has been you cannot deny that there has been a set of challenges. Why do you think it's going to change this time around?
In Bobby's case, he comes from a large framework of a company like Mudra. He's worked in the largest agencies like Ogilvy in New York and he's worked in Chicago. I think that brings a certain mindset. One is it brings a mindset of working with clients who are ambitious, clients who think of scale, and clients who really rely on creativity and ideas which work in the marketplace. I think he brings that to bear.
So, Bobby, have you ever had any experience of leading a creative team of 300 and clients of over 200 in total an agency? Is this your first time?
Of course.
Yeah?
There isn't. I mean, if I was working in India, there wouldn't be. There's nobody else except the guys who've done it before who have that experience, because nobody else has that.
So why would you think he's the right man?
Can I, for a moment, yeah? Pastor run the credit department, and I was part of the business part of it as well, of a group that had nearly 20 companies, from as diverse as trade marketing to traditional advertising. So scale is something that I'm not...
you're not scared of.
Yeah, right? Also, operating in different sort of touch points is something I've done, right? And we've tried certain things there, and I think we can only get better at that. That journey has just begun. So these things don't faze me.
All the very best to you, Bobby, in your new role as,